So the first round of the 2020 isolated stay-at-home Rona NFL draft is in the books, and I mean, it was a bit of a slow start. It was chalk. It was pretty boring. You're like, all right, all these GMs at home, maybe they're taking the safe route out of everything, but then, boom, then some interesting picks, then some trades and some trade backs. A lot of good times were had by all, and let's get into it. So first off, Joe Burrow won to the Bengals. I think it made a ton of sense. Burrow was amazing last year at LSU, and the Bengals are a team without an identity, and they just needed someone to rally around. So why not the local kid, Athens, Ohio, coming on in and hopefully turning around that franchise. Chase Young too. Yeah, speaking of can't screw it up. So Washington, all the huff and puff that they wanted to trade out, blah, 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 all that other stuff. But you have the local kid, you have Julius Peppers, you have this amazing edge rusher who's going to be a Pro Bowler and All-Pro for many years to come. I mean, not even Washington can screw that one up, which is weird. 3, Lions stand put. Now, they had a couple options. So they go Derek Brown here, but they decided to go Jeff Okudah, replacing Darius Big Play Slay. And now they do have some decent cornerbacks. They have Justin Coleman, and also they signed Trufant from Atlanta. But Okudah coming in is the clear cornerback one in this class, and I'm not looking forward to Detroit just annoyed, very annoyed. So the Giants. So Giants at 4. It's clear that they were probably going to be in on tackle, where Cam Fleming probably is not going to be the guy at that right tackle spot, but also Nate Solder is certainly not long for this world at left tackle, where the highest paid left tackles in the game has certainly lost like 9 steps since New England. So they went with Andrew Thomas, where he is the most NFL ready left tackle of this entire class. I thought a lot of teams may overthink him. Well, certainly the mock draft community were overlooking Andrew Thomas, but Mekhi Becton, blah blah blah. So I wonder if they're going to cut loose Nate Solder, or if they'll start Andrew Thomas at right tackle for a year, then move him over. But I think that's just a really great pick by Dave Gettleman. We're surprised, by the way, Dave Gettleman. 5. So the Dolphins huffed and bluffed and blew everyone away. So they put out all these vibes about Tua, questions about the hips and whatnot. But the team that did the medical recheck on Tua's hip was the Dolphins. I mean, they're the one responsible for giving out all the information around the league. But, I mean, I really love what Chris Greer and Brian Flores are building down in South Beach. So Tua coming in, yeah, they screwed up on Drew Brees the first time around, picking Dante Culpepper back in the day. But now they don't pass Tua. I'm excited for him. Like, although he's not going to be able to wear 13, he said that as much as well. But yeah, 6. So the Chargers still on quarterback, need to replace Phillip Rivers. Tyrod probably not going to be the guy. I think Justin Herbert makes a lot of sense, where he is a little Eli Manning-ish, quiet, reserved, but smart as a whip, great arm, underrated athlete as well. I think he'll bring a little bit of excitement to the Chargers. And man, Chargers did some work. I mean, we'll get to the Chargers a little bit later on as well. I mean, just getting Kenneth Murray, like, no big deal. Throwing him in the middle at defense, yikes. 7. So we said that shenanigans will happen in the top 6, and some really good players are going to fall. So, of course, 3 quarterbacks go in the top 6. And then Derek Brown just falls into the lap of Matt Rule and company, where he is just an absorber of bodies in the middle, as well as just really gets after it, really just a disruptive force in the middle. He's big, he's quick, he's strong, and just a really, really solid pick by them. 8, the Cardinals. So, I mean, a lot of places said that the Cardinals probably should go offensive tackle here, and it did make a lot of sense. One of the big reasons why Kyler Murray was under pressure so much last year is that his offensive line was terrible. But I mean, the Joker, the absolute Joker. And the Cardinals have done this before. Well, they take the tweener defensive pieces, Deion Buchanan, Honey Badger, now Isaiah Simmons coming in out of Clemson, where Arizona is all about offense, all about Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler, but getting him on defense makes a lot of sense. It's just a stellar pick. Again, surprising by Steve Keim. 9. So the Jaguars here. So they whiffed on all the quarterbacks, which is fine. They go offensive line. They whiffed on Isaiah Simmons. I think they would have been in on, but getting the number 2 cornerback in this draft to replace Jalen Ramsey makes all the sense in the world. So bring in C.J. Henderson, keeping him in the great state of Florida. There you go. 10. Now this is where things gets interesting. So as a Vikings fan, we've talked about the Trent Williams trade, how I had a theory that the Vikings were the only team legitimately interested in Trent Williams. Now, it was the Washington trying to do everything, putting it out through the media. Oh, the Browns are in. Oh, the Jets are in. Oh, the Chargers are in. Oh, the Eagles are in. Chargers, no. Eagles, no. And then the Browns and the Jets went back-to-back offensive tackles. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Best of luck to you. Wills, I don't know if he's going to play left tackle here. They brought in Conklin. Which one of them has to play left tackle? We'll see which one it is. Mekhi Becton, I mean, you're gambling with Sam Darnold's life here. Combine wizard, big ceiling, very, very low floor. We'll see what happens there. 12. So the Raiders break the seal on the wide receivers. And, of course, Henry Ruggs III. Now, they're in a division with Tyreek Hill, so they fully understand that speed does kill. Stretching the field that makes everything a lot easier. So it's understandable why Mayock and Gruden went in this direction. 13. So the Bucs were at 14 and the Niners were at 13. Now, John Lynch has done this before, where it's like convince a team to come up. He did that in 2017 when they were at 2, and then the Bears came up from 3. So I think the Niners were open to trading that pick because Tristan Wirfs was the last of the big 4 tackles on the board. He was the trade-up target. And, I mean, the Bucs, they need Wirfs because they got Smith over at left tackle. They put Wirfs day 1 at right tackle, protecting Tom Brady and just making sure that offense works. It was a really good move by Jason Licht and company there. And the Niners moved back, and they still get Javon Kinlaw. Phenomenal story. Raw athlete, raw prospect, but getting him to on his rookie deal to replace DeForest Buckner, who just got massively paid, and he extended Eric Armstead. It's just really, really smart. 15. So the Broncos are just sitting there like, okay, so we have a need at wide receiver, and Lamb and Judy are still both there. So we're in. So they took Judy. Great companion with Cortland Sutton. 16. So there have been some talk about the Falcons potentially trading up, trying to get one of the better cornerbacks, probably C.J. Henderson. But the fact that they just sat there, A.J. Terrell just comes to them. It's perfectly fine. 17. So you saw that Jerry Jones and like his Bond villain lair, got that pick in right away. CeeDee Lamb falling all the way to 17, where, I mean, CeeDee Lamb, he's a very solid player. You do wonder how much of it was scheme with Oklahoma, but he is a big-bodied, contested-catch dude, very much in the mold of Des Bryant, very much in the mold of like DeAndre Hopkins, let's say. But you saw like Judy went ahead of Lamb, Ruggs went ahead of Lamb, just because separation is still key. It's very paramount in this league. So, I mean, you could say that he had a draft day fall. I think he was perfectly fine where he was drafted, and Dak Prescott. Oh, by the way, condolences to Dak Prescott and the family. Dak's brother passed away earlier today, so it's really unfortunate news. But Dallas gets a decent receiver here. Next up, the Dolphins up at 18. So they got Tua, and when you pay for the house, you got to get the insurance. So Austin Jackson coming in, where this makes sense for the Dolphins in that they're probably a couple years away. They're a very young team. They're betting on youth and developing together. So Austin Jackson, who's 20 years old, needs a lot of things to work on, but is a plus athlete as well as projects to be a very solid left tackle in this league. Makes a lot of sense here. 19. So the first head scratcher. So the Raiders take Damon Arnett, the quarterback from Ohio State. Now, he was opposite of Jeff Okudah at Ohio State. He is a solid cornerback. He's not amazing in man. He's not amazing in zone. Just a real surprise. And this was a surprise that Tom Pelissero pointed out a couple days ago, where Damon Arnett in the first round, very surprising. Damon Arnett, the fourth cornerback, mondo surprising. There's a lot of great cornerbacks that was still on the board at that time. But Mayock and Gruden, they marched to beat their own drum. I mean, Jonathan Abrams last year, Josh Jacobs, that one turned out to be pretty good. Clelin Ferrell at 4 overall. Whew. Okay. 20. So the Jaguars just chilling there. Again, get Caleb Chase on, just fall into the laps, no big deal. Like the best edge rusher outside of Chase Young in this class just falls them at 20, just like nothing happens. Now, 21 sucks. 21 sucks for me is that I was fully in on Jalen Reagor. I wanted him in the first round if the Vikings were going to go wide receiver, but he goes to the Eagles. They get their replacement, Deshaun Jackson. They get what they wanted Nelson Aguilar to be, and it really irks me. It just sucks. 22. So now with Jalen Reagor off the board, Justin Jefferson coming in, where we've talked about, I was a little meh on Justin Jefferson because I think he's exclusively in the slot. I wonder if he's going to get off NFL press. And also, he's not a burner. Like he ran a decent 40, but it doesn't show up on tape. Like he's not the quickest guy in the world, but he does have a lot of tools that we'll see how it works with Adam Thielen. They can't really both play slot, but I think at this point going BPA with Jalen Reagor off the board. I mean, you could go Brandon Ayuk here. Personally, I would have gone with that. But Vikings all in on JJ, so I'm all in with JJ. Let's go Justin Jefferson. Let's go run this thing up. 23. So the Patriots, they did not take Jordan Love. They traded out with the Chargers. They pick up Kenneth Murray, the linebacker from Oklahoma. That's just sick. Yeah, add Kenneth Murray to a defense that's already so stacked with Bosa and Ingram, Desmond King, Derwin James. Just so many amazing pieces on that defense. Oh, Linval Joseph out there now just chilling. Just wow. You really do love what the Chargers are doing, not only with the uniforms, but also with this roster. 24. So Cesar Ruiz coming in. Now, the Saints haven't really had like a solid center since Max Unger got traded. So Cesar Ruiz coming in makes all the sense in the world, really solidifying the interior offensive line. I've had a couple of issues there. So they could have gone flashy. They could have gone Ayuk. They could have gone Denzel Mims. They could have gone another receiver there. Or Patrick Queen would have made a lot, would have really fit as well. But they went with Cesar Ruiz. Really phenomenal pick. 25. So Brandon Ayuk. And this is the pick that the Vikings traded back. So the Vikings were obviously already out on wide receiver. So the fact that they were able to trade down 6 picks and still get the guy that they wanted, amazing. But the Niners moved back up. They used that 4th round pick, number 117, that they got back from the Bucks to put that towards the Vikings, move up 6 picks, as well as include their 5th rounder. And then getting Brandon Ayuk, who massive, amazing open field, game-breaking skill and speed, putting him with Deebo Samuel and George Kittle. It's pretty gross. Speaking of gross, so the Packers trade up to 26, and they're just like, what's going to happen? What's it going to be? Is it going to be wide receiver? Is it going to be weapons for Aaron Rodgers? No, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers' replacement. So Aaron Rodgers just got Rodgered. So Jordan Love, massive arm, massive upside, massive downside. Will benefit from sitting for a couple of years here. As a Vikings fan, I'm both excited and frightened about facing Jordan Love twice a year in the near future. So 27, the Seahawks the Raiders take the cake in the Arnett pick, but Jordan Brooks, where the Seahawks are really famous for this, where if they stick and pick in the first round, they'll just take some head scratchers, where like LJ Collier last year, where consensus-wise, he was seen as like a 3rd-round pick, and then as well as Rashad Penny before that. So, like, the Seahawks aren't afraid to take their guy. And Jordan Brooks, consensus-wise, maybe like a borderline top 100 player. So he goes 27 overall in the first round. I bet you he was even shocked too. But just a nice little linebacker, going to make some plays there. You know, Bobby Wagner's on his way out eventually. So, okay. But also, you pick Brooks when Patrick Queen is still on board. Okay. So 28, just if you had to pick a Raven in this draft, it would be either Patrick Queen or maybe AJ Epinesa. But it annoys me to absolutely no end that the Ravens just always on the back end of the first round. They either trade back or they just get absolutely amazing meat and potatoes, solid Baltimore Ravens football players. 29. Isaiah Wilson out of Georgia. Now, if you were watching the live stream, I accidentally thought that it was the Dolphins picking him up, so 2 tackles for Tua. But no, replacing Jack Conklin was a primary objective here. So getting Wilson in, putting him at right tackle, it's a good fit. So giving Ryan Tannehill a little bit more protection, as well as Derrick Henry, another rogue raider out there. 30, Noah Benigene, cornerback. Now, this is a bit of a shocker. So ahead of Jeff Gladney, ahead of Christian Fulton, apparently the NFL hates, ahead of Trevon Diggs, ahead of Jalen Johnson, our guy. So a little bit surprising. Not as much of a shocker. Like he had been seen as like a fringe late 1st round pick, early 2nd round pick, but a little bit surprising with the other cornerbacks still on board. But I do trust and appreciate what the Dolphins are doing down there. Going with youth. Pretty neat. 31. So the Vikings, after the trade back, get El Jefe, El Gladney, Bring it on. The absolute alpha dog of this draft. Yes, 5'10", don't care. Yeah. Zimmer's in on. Zimmer only likes tall, long cornerbacks, except Mack and Hughes and Gladney are all 5'10". But just the guy who's going to get after. He's going to gamble. He's going to ball hawk. I really love this pick. Could play inside. Great blitzer off the edge as well. Boom. Then wrapping up the first round. So the Chiefs were probably going to be in on running back. Was it going to be DeAndre Swift? Was it going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Edwards-Helaire of the LSU national champion Tigers gets in here. Really solid receiving back, and just another great weapon out of the backfield for Patrick Mahomes. Almost a little bit unfair. BPA. He's left. So none of the safeties got touched. So Delpit, McKinney, Antoine Winfield Jr. all on board. DeAndre Swift is still up there. Ezra Cleveland, as well as Josh Jones, are still sitting there chilling. So the edge guys, everyone and their mom mocked Epinesa and Gross Matos in the first round. They're still out there chilling. Same thing with Zach Bond as well. Trevon Diggs, as we mentioned. T. Higgins is still out there. Wow. And as we said, there's between picks 30 and 60, there's just going to be an absolute poop ton of talent in this draft. So don't be shocked if overnight a lot of teams start maneuvering in the top end of the second round, because a lot of these guys could have easily been first round picks and it wouldn't shock anyone. So Jalen Johnson is still out there, Michael Pittman Jr., defensive interior guys, Justin Matabuke, Ross Blacklock, Jordan Elliott, Marlon Davidson. There's just a ton of talent. Denzel Mims is still out there chilling. I mean, there's an absolute ton of talent out there, and teams will be able to take advantage of it. I'm still intrigued to see where the quarterbacks, second wave of quarterbacks go. Where does Jalen Hurts go? Where does Jake from State Farm go? Where does Jacob Eason go? It's going to be an amazing day, too. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it, so do that up. But your thoughts overall, day one of the NFL Draft, let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull us on the Venmo. Please give us a follow on social media as well. But until next time, Skull, production value.